All right, this Hangout is live. We don't have any viewers, so I'll just talk to myself for a little bit here with Christine and try to enable the Q&A part of the broadcast, which it says this feature is disabled. That's not very friendly. Huh. All right, now you can ask a question through chat if you do join up. Showcase, this feature is disabled. Hopefully you can all hear me. I think so. Oh, we got one viewer. Is that you, Christine?
That's me.
Wow, that's kind of sad. Huh, I wonder why I can't enable that feature. I'll be right back. Well, people can't rightly ask questions unless they comment. Can't see me?
Oh, I had to pause.
There you go. You can see me. So you can, Christine, if you want to throw it in a chat. One viewer.
There were where it says say something.
Yeah. Are you able to say something?
That wasn't right.
Ask a question here.
I said say something. Fastest anything.
Well, I've got that open too, so I see your comment. All right. Whoever's joining us out there, it looks like there's a couple people out there now. Ask away. You can probably there on the page where it says make a comment, go ahead and throw something into there. And we can go that direction. It's Al Yurok here with Christine from our support team. What's that? Good morning, Christine. Any questions for us, Nancy, this morning? You might be curious about. I don't know why that Q&A thing won't work. That'd be really neat, but it's okay. Need to get started with a question. We should have asked for them beforehand, but that's fine too. Anything you'd like to know about, Nancy? Or just come to watch the spectacle, which is fine too. Yeah, I don't know. Christine does not. Does Christine have any questions? All right, question from Nancy about when are we scheduled for an update? So, which code are they, Christine? Do you remember? So, can you look that up? Okay. So we are making our way through. So Andy is holding my feet to the fire. We are moving in some new directions as far as upgrading, and then we'll be upgrading again. But we're kind of making our way through the last set of clients, just kind of depending. We put more priority on those that were having redesigns because those had to be done before they could get their new template installed. So we kind of prioritize those, and as well as people that asked for them specifically. So let's see here. Let me see where you guys are at with that. SMQ, yeah. So I am. I'll better answer for you here in a second, Nancy. Okay. Yeah. For those that ask, we kind of put them on the top of the list. So you need to go from 1.5 to 2.5 of our CMS system. So we can plan to put you on the list. We have about 40 clients left that are on the old system, so we made our way through about 80 of them. This update, it kind of ended up being a little bit more painful because of the distance from the old system to the new system and how Joomla has changed up its file structure and stuff. So it ended up taking a little bit longer than we thought, and we had some new instructional videos. So Nancy, since you asked, we'll put you in the next set. I think we are done with all of the required ones for redesigns. So maybe in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we can probably get you going. So if there's others that want to put in their place, if they're still in the old system, we can put you up there too. Looks like we got a few more viewers. Again, this is Al Urok, and I've got Christine Simpson, formerly Urok, here beside me. So I'm trying to process questions. So so for those that have joined us, yeah, ask a question and we'll do our best to answer it. Could be about anything. We had a little bit of a rush this morning because in our new support system, which we've introduced on our team to kind of help take care of people a little bit better, and there'll be more coming out about that here before too long. A new person that's kind of helping us with that, Lori, she opened up an email and it installed a little virus, the Locky virus of some sort, I guess, and it's ransomware, which basically they take all your files, they encrypt them, and then they make you pay them to give them the encryption key. So, we're trying to deal with that this morning. I think we got it kind of figured out, but we had to pull the plug on a computer before it got too far. So not very fun. So understand your question there or comment there, Nancy, and those help screens will match very soon. I think for those that have not been upgraded, if there's any of those that are listening right now, probably, I mean, my idea is like early to mid summer. Basically, we're creating a hole to finish the rest of those out. And it's something that should have been done a while ago, but yeah, trying to move forward with new projects and create new functionality, and we need to make sure everybody's kept up to date. So, but it's a little bit of on a need basis. So, all right, Rebecca Ford. I am premature in asking this because I haven't had a chance to watch the link you sent, but could you talk about the transition on Picasa to the new Rock Gallery? That's scary about the virus. Yes, it is. Be very careful about the attachments that you open up. Okay, so Picasa is going away. I think April 1st or something like that, or not April, May 1st is when they said that they would start taking it away. And so basically, to my understanding, there's the Picasa. Okay, so there's Picasa software that many of you have used to resize images, or maybe have used that installed software to upload pictures. And I imagine that's going to continue to work. It's an independent Windows program, and many of the pieces aren't connected to Google Picasa, at least the web version. So it should still work to resize pictures. If I don't get any other questions, I could start talking about other alternatives to crop and resize pictures. Picasa was really good at it, but again, it's not much of an option. So, and I wouldn't try to continue using it going forward. So if I have some time, I'll write that down. We'll talk about paint.net or the GIMP, and how to crop and resize pictures to exact dimensions, if that's something you need to do. Okay, so what's happening with Picasa is basically their online component, where they used to store pictures. There used to be a component to Picasa where you could share albums with other people, and part of that was to embed slideshows into websites, so we can get a little HTML code, put that into the website, and it would create a slideshow. Well, they've gone down the path of enhancing Picasa, and they've renamed it Google Photos, which is a great tool for archiving your photos. In fact, if you have a phone, an Android phone or an iPhone, I really recommend installing Google Photos, and it will automatically back up all of your photos in really good quality without you having to really do anything. So that way, if they get deleted off your device, or if you're on an Apple device and you have that rolling 1,000 pictures, your entire library will be backed up at Google Photos. So, that is a very powerful tool. And do you think we have to migrate all of our old photos? Okay, so I got a question from Father Coulter. I'll come back to that about Picasa as well. So with the transition, all of your photos are still backed up. They're still there. So any of your old albums that you put on Picasa, they'll just be simply transitioned over to photos.google.com, but the slideshows will stop working. For some of our clients, that's been really kind of intermittent. Again, they were supposed to start doing the transition May 1st, but I guess they got a little antsy, or they're doing some testing or something like that. But some of the slideshows still work right now. For some folks, I noticed they have a black box with a circle and a minus sign in it. So I just wouldn't really rely on those being active, especially after May 1st. Something's going to happen to them. So that's what's happening on their side. So we need to figure out, what's another tool that we can use. So there are third-party options out there. We've suggested for people in the past to use PhotoBucket, and that works. It's a very similar service. You have to create an account with them. I think when you're uploading files, you see advertisements when you're going through that. Again, if you guys want to just look at my face, I can probably show examples of that. Here, screen share. And let's cast out this guy. Okay, so PhotoBucket is another tool. And I don't think it shows advertisements when it actually gets to your site, right? Christine can confirm that. But when you're uploading, basically you see advertisements, and I guess that's how they go around. I probably have an account here. Really? Okay. What's that?
I said, if not, I do.
I've been in there before, I know. Come on. Just want to make sure I don't show everybody my password. Do you want to log in? Do you know what your account is, Christine?
I don't know what my password is.
Cool. Fantastic.
I can look it up.
I think we actually have documentation that this is the help site, but very similar. You have an account, you log in, you drag and drop your pictures in, and then on the side, there's usually an embed slideshow. Again, I'm a little bit worried about that with photo sharing tools, and so I have a tough time recommending that as a tool to go to. Also, Flickr might work. If you have a Flickr account, you can upload to there, and then there's things called like, let's see here, embed Flickr slideshow. There's third-party connections with that. So Flick Slider, I've done it. Flickr it. Basically, you tell it the photo album after you make it public, and then it'll create a slideshow for you. Those look pretty nice. I don't think there's any advertisements around that show up on top of them. But again, without a business model, I'm a little bit wary of using those slideshows. So in the end, I probably just recommend using our normal tools. And we have a tool called Rock Gallery. It works a little bit differently. There's an extra step of creating a module, which is why I hesitate in recommending it straight out. But let's create a sample album, and I'll show you. I can probably do that fairly quickly. So let's grab a website that we're currently working on, SMQ-Rush. I won't destroy any of the sites we're currently working on. What's that?
Okay. No,
Are
that's
you
fine.
okay? All right, this works. Okay. All right, I'm gonna need to put it on a page. So let's put it. We'll put it on the mission statement page. Is what we'll plan on. Okay. So just a quick overview. And again, if people have specific questions as I'm walking through this, let me know. I kind of want to step through it fast so you can see it's not too cumbersome of a process. But so here we go. So we log into the system. Okay. The first piece of this is you need to go to Rock Gallery, which is located underneath components. It's called Rock Gallery. We go here, and the first thing we're going to need is we're going to need to create a gallery. This would be a set of pictures that you would have on the site. So I'll click on Galleries, and I'll create a new, and we'll call this my sample gallery. And it needs to have a name and set that same name to tags as well, and make sure those both have the same thing, and then hit save. You don't need to worry about any of the other settings. You just need to have a gallery to put them into. Second piece is we need to put some pictures in there. So let's see here, Christine, where would some pictures be here in my Dropbox? Build. I don't know, somebody uploaded some recently to you.
Well, for that site, they're in shared.
I don't have shared saved, do I? Maybe I do. No, I do. Oh, you're saying for this specific site? Oh, that's so nice. I might not have them because Jackie doesn't always share them with me. So let's grab somebody else. St. Stephanie.
Yeah, they have.
Should I already taken care of them? Here's some pictures. Okay. So now I have some pictures on my desktop. I'm going to click on upload, and then I can just click and drag them in. Hopefully you guys can see that. And there's, oh, my, this is going to be huge. There's 40 megabytes worth of stuff. So that's for the simplicity of making this go fast. Let's just do a couple. All right, so they're going to upload. Again, if it'll do all the resizing and all that kind of stuff for you, so you don't have to worry about any of that. And it'll process them into smaller formats that are faster on your website. So, and our connection here is pretty fast. So I just uploaded a couple of pictures, but they're very large pictures, and it processed them and put them in there. So once we've uploaded them up, hit close, and then the last step we have to do here in Rock Gallery is to upload or to connect them to that gallery, because right now they kind of just go into the overall bucket, but we're going to add them to the gallery. So I click and drag over them to highlight them. You can also use keyboard shortcuts like Control and then click, or Shift and click and select a bunch at one time. Okay, so we've got them selected, and we'll hit tag. And conveniently enough, there's only one gallery to put them in. But again, if you had 10 of them or 15 of them or how many ever, you'd see a drop down of all the galleries that you've created. So sample gallery will be the one we're going to use here. So I'll go ahead and I'll hit apply here. So now those have been added to that gallery. Second step is I go to the module manager. And so that's located here, module manager. It's also underneath extensions, and then module manager also works. Okay. All right. Okay, Father's got another good question. So, okay, I'm gonna let me finish this overview, and then I'll come back to you, Father. Okay, so once I have that, then I'm going to create a new module, and there's a new button up here at the top right corner. I'll click on that, and the type that I'm going to do is a rock gallery module. It's one of the 40 different types or so. I'm going to name this something, so it's a sample gallery, but you could give a nicer title to that. That's fine. So it needs a title. It needs a gallery. So I'm going to select a gallery, which is going to be our sample gallery. So there it is. It's saved. So now it's selected. And then there's all kinds of interesting kind of settings here, because when I create this, I can show titles, I can show captions. Those are some advanced options. I can set where it's linked to. What I usually like to do here is set it to the to the full image, Rockbox 2 full image, and that way when you click on the image, it'll blow it up, and people can see a zoomed in version. So their titles, sort by, alphabetically, and when it was last updated, all those kinds of things. Basically, there's a lot of options here. The gallery layout, this is an important one. So grid would be it would be a grid according to this number of columns. So if I had this at 3 columns, it would be 3 pictures side by side, then another row of 3 pictures, and then another row of 3 pictures. So that's one way to look at it. So like if you wanted to show a bunch of pictures all at one time, that's one way to look at it. If we want to replace what we were doing with Google Picasa, you're probably looking more at a slideshow, and you're going to see other options for that. So you can show arrows to like move between pictures as a default option. Navigation type, and I can just show you this, but basically underneath the pictures, there'll be little thumbnails underneath it to where you can skip between pictures, or if you don't want to have any of that, you just set that to none. So for this example, I'll set that to there. And then also you can have it auto play. How often do you want it to go? So we can enable that if we want, and then every 7 seconds, it's automatically going to go to the next picture. Now, I'll come back here and we'll play around with some of these settings, but one thing to note, this module is going to have an identification number, and that's something that we need to track. So instead of hitting save and close here, I'm just going to save, because this way I can find out what the ID number is. So that's 101. So this is module ID 101. That's important for us to remember. Each gallery and module that you set up will have its own ID number. Okay, so now I can close out of this, or save and close. Both of them do the same thing. And then I'm going to go to my history page. I'm going to add this gallery to the article. So let's see here. It was mission statement. I think we were adding it to. Okay, so here's mission statement, and then in this step, we can add in our gallery here. So we would do something. So use the square brackets, open bracket and close bracket, and then you put in module dash and then the ID number. Okay. Now, what's really flexible about this and kind of neat is the fact that when we set our options as far as that module is concerned, it's going to bring whatever's in that module. And this is actually kind of a neat tip for anything else. You can put the contents of a module anywhere in an article. So if you want to put a list of documents or something like that, or a search module, or any module you want, you just put in those square brackets, put in the word module dash, and then the ID number, and it'll insert that. So so here in the gallery, you can put information above the gallery to explain what's going on. You can put the gallery, then you could put another explanation, and then another gallery. So it's really extremely flexible in that way. So this is what that looks like. So module dash 101. in the square brackets. I'll hit save, and then as long as I'm not lying to you, I'll refresh this mission statement, and here we see the slideshow. So again, this has the navigation of the thumbnails. If I want to change that, I'll go back to the module manager. And so that was called sample. And I can change any of these options, which will flow through, right through. So if I want to set this to navigation type none, and I want to, I don't know, what other options?
Show title.
Oh, show title. I might want to hide that since it's just showing the title of the pictures, the names of the pictures. So now if I refresh this, I'll see now I've got no navigation and I just have the arrows that show on hover, and it'll go between them. And then if I'm off of the pictures, it should auto rotate every 7 seconds is what it's currently set to. You might want to reduce that to maybe around 3. That's a little bit more appropriate maybe, but there's also the grid. So again, I only have 2 pictures, so we'll just do a grid of 2 columns. Save that off, and you can see a different type here. So here's a grid, and then when we click on it, it expands it out, and you get to see the full picture. And then you can actually paste between the pictures in the rock box here. So anyway, I know it's a little. There's a few more steps there. Once you get them down, you can probably move pretty quickly, but it is something that is a change. It is different, but there is a lot of flexibility here to make things look like you want. So it's kind of a neat change here. Okay, so Rebecca, hopefully that answers your question about the rock gallery. So if I didn't make any of that clear, let me know, and we'll go from there. All right. Father asked, do you think we have to migrate all of our old Picasso photo albums? I don't. I mean, in my opinion, like if you want to have an archive, that would be really easy to do in this rock gallery. Basically, round up all of the pictures, upload them all. Again, that may take some time, but you can just let it spin, do its own thing. And then I'd create a gallery that was just archive, highlight them all, and then tag them as that gallery. And then you can make its own page that would be just those photos. And you can do them like in reverse chronological order, so you can see the newest ones at the top and such. In fact, part of the magic of this rock gallery and things we can do is you can tag things to different items. So, for instance, if you wanted to have a specific gallery for, say, ordinations, you could have that. And then if you also wanted to add these pictures to the general archive, you could do both. So you would highlight the pictures and you'd tag them and put them in, say, the ordination gallery. And then you'd come back, highlight them again, and tag them as the archive of all pictures. So that way, or if you can do like a faith formation archive and a service archive. You could separate those into separate deals. The point is that one individual photo can be put into multiple places by tagging it multiple times. So, but as far as like bringing over all the old albums, I think most of their usefulness gets done. I think if we look at how many people look at the old photos on old stories, really, people are going to be much more engaged by the photos of the current event. Those that go back and look at the history would be pretty far and few between. And having a general archive for everything would at least take care of that purpose. So I don't know. I mean, that's up to you, but I wouldn't worry too much about bringing up all the old archives. Father has another question here. We are looking at the rock gallery as you suggest, but do we really want to put thousands of photos in one giant bucket? Apparently there's no file structure or hierarchy with that. Do we need to rename all of those files to keep them straight? That's a possibility, but if you're tagging all of them as they're getting introduced, you should be in pretty good shape because there is this filter. It's not a traditional file structure, but you can set the tag to be sample gallery, and then you'll be able to pull back just those pictures. The Wichita Diocese had a very similar question for me because they use the Rock Gallery for other components, like some of their slideshows. And so there's a lot of information in there. But this tag structure, as long as every single picture that you pull into here, you set it to have a tag, which you should, I assume that you would be doing because you're putting them in some space, is a good idea. So. Yeah, there is no tree structure, there is nothing like that, but the tag structure and combining there with the filters should get you where you're should be a little bit more comfortable around managing that number of pictures. So, other questions, folks out there? I had a note to talk about paint.net, so if I don't see another question, I'll fire that up. And maybe the GIMP. So, all right, I don't see any questions. So, all right. The other thing that Picasa did really well, and again, their software will probably work just fine as far as cropping and resizing. And we've really pointed a lot of people in that direction. And unfortunately, they shut it down. Or at least, they're ending support for it. So it's never really a good idea to keep with a Google tool that they've ended support with because you don't know quite what's going to happen there. And so some other photo editor. I've tried a few online ones, but I haven't had the best of luck with them, and especially because they require a certain browser. You have to be using, Chrome or whatever, and they're adding different extensions, which if you were looking at my screen before, I already have plenty of extensions, and I don't like to add too many of those because things get slow. But I think it's Aviary maybe is one. The other thing that web editors, I haven't really found that they do a great job of is specific dimensions. Since everything's web-based, they kind of are a lot more friendly to bigger or smaller, and they don't really care as much. And they really focus around like color correction and straightening things and maybe cropping. So, so it's hard for me to kind of recommend one that's web-based. But if you like one and if it works well for you, then go to town. If you have Photoshop, by all means use that. If you're looking for a free option, let's talk a little bit about paint.net. Two different tools I'd recommend. One, I use let's see here. Here we go. I use the GIMP because it's more powerful. It's more Photoshop-like, and it is free. And you can find it at GIMP, GIMP.org. What it's really good at is things like layers. It can lay several different images on top of each other. So if you want to put text on top of an image or put two images together and fade them together, like it's very, very good at all of that. So that's a tool that I like. I think something that's a little bit, thank you, Christine. One that's a little more friendly to use is probably paint.net, and it probably takes care of most people and what they're looking for. So I think you can get, it's like getpaint.net maybe, I think is the address. Getpaint.net, yeah, www. One thing that kind of ticks me off is it's a little bit tough to find out where the download is, but if you go to getpaint.net, you'll find it there on the right hand side. Get it now. That's a free download, and it is the download now link here. So it's pretty small download, works pretty well. And I will show you how to use it. Change my screen here to paint.net. Okay, it's basically a souped-up version of Windows Paint, but it should work on both Mac and Windows. But it has some additional functionality. It does have layers. It does have history. It's got some more powerful tools, but it is more powerful than the regular Paint. If I click and drag a picture into here, it's going to ask me, do I want to open this image or do I want to add it to a layer to the current image? And you can't see that because you don't see my pop-ups. But so when you see this drag and drop, if you drag and drop an image into here, you want to open this as its own image. So you would pick the first option. If you did a layer, it's going to keep the current dimensions of the current picture you're working on, which it looks like is 800 by 600 pixels. And that may not be the size you want to be working with. If you already have a template and you want to drag pictures on top of it, that's fine. But if we're going to just do strict cropping and resizing, I would just click on open. Okay, so here's a picture. And say, I don't know, just for theoretical sake, I need a picture that is, say, 600 pixels wide by 300 pixels tall. What I would do here is go to image and then see here, probably canvas size. So let's see here. So I would put in, actually, no. First of all, I would resize it. Usually when you want to make a picture specific dimensions, you don't want to distort the image and make it like, you know, look like it's fat or skinny. So the first step would be to resize this, and then we're going to crop it down to, you know, to the other dimension that we're still maybe exceeding. So I'm going to click on resize, and I'm going to set the width here to 600. Oops, I did that too fast. Image, resize to 600. Now, you notice that it's going to fill in. Oh, you can't see. Hold on. I'm going to have to have you see the little pop-up. Otherwise, this is going to be confusing. It won't let you see the pop-up.
You can scroll down.
What's that? Oh, there we go. Yeah, no, I don't see it.
Mm-mm.
Okay, I'll just share my whole screen. Whee! Okay, I have a really big screen, so there we are. Okay, so you probably, it's tough to see, but you do see, you should see a little pop-up window that's here. I set the width to 600, and then the height, automatically it does it, so it maintains that aspect ratio, and it is set to 448. So basically, you need to resize something so that it's at least the dimensions that you need to crop it down to. So when I originally said this, I wanted to do 600 by 300. Okay, if when you resize the width to say 600 and the height is less than 300, well then you can't crop your way out of that. So what you would do instead is you would change the height to 300, and then you're going to crop the width instead. But you need the greater of the two. You need both of the numbers to be at least the dimensions you're looking at. Otherwise, you won't have anything to crop to. So in this case, we're going to do 600. I'll hit OK. Then I have my image. Now it's like 600. And you can see in the status bar, I know that it's super tiny, but it's down at the bottom of your screen. It says 600 by 448. The second part of this deal would be I'm going to change the canvas size, which is underneath image and then canvas size. And I'm going to set the height to 300 here, and then hit OK. So now I have that exact dimensions, and you can always tell the exact dimensions with Paint.net at the bottom. It says 300 or 600 by 300, and so then we would save that off. So we'd save it as a JPEG. Quality settings for most website stuff, I usually set it down to about 90. Can't really tell the difference, and it helps your site to load faster. So there we go. Now I'd have my full image converted over. Okay, I don't see any other questions. I can go through the GIMP and show you there. Again, most people have favorite tools here, and once you kind of learn one of these tools, you can do, has quite a bit of power. But so let's go to the GIMP. Okay, so this is the GIMP, gimp.org, and if I pull in some pictures here, here I've got an image. At the top of the screen, it tells you how big it is. So this is 2,592 pixels wide by 1936. So it's quite a bit bigger than it needs to be. In this case, I'm going to resize. In the GIMP, it's called, you go to image and it's called scale image. And again, I'll do the same steps. So 600 and 448, no surprise. On the pop-up that I see is the height. So again, we do that and kind of zoom back in here. And then the second piece is to crop the image, and that is under image and then canvas size. And on that, we would set it to 300 as far as the height. I know that you can't see that because it's on the pop-up. What's nice about the GIMP is it allows you to click and drag it into the right area that you want. So instead of being fixed at either middle, top, middle, and bottom, the GIMP allows you to click and drag back and forth to get just the right part of the picture into the frame. So that's kind of nice. Another way to do this is to use the cropping tool, which is located in your toolbar. If you hover over the buttons, it'll tell you which one, but basically you get an icon that looks like what's on my screen. And then you can click and drag over the part of the image. And in the status bar down at the bottom left, it'll tell you what you're cropping to. So I can see right now I'm 600 by 314 or 313. So I can just slowly drag this until I get to at the right dimensions. So there's 600 by 300, and it kind of it darkens the part that's going to crop out. And I can actually drag this up and down too once I have it to the right dimensions. So I can adjust the right part into the picture, and then I hit enter when I'm done. And now I have an image that's 600 by 300. The one tricky part about the GIMP is that it has its own file format that it wants to save it as, which is a XCF file. The thing is you can't use an XCF file. That's the original thing with all the layers and all of the GIMP type of things. So when you save something out of the GIMP, you're wanting to export, because we're wanting to export it as a JPEG that we can go and use. So in this case, you go to File, hit Export As, and then give it a file name, put it on your desktop or whatever. And I know there's a pop-up that came up that you can't see, but that is how you would save off an image in the GIMP. So if there's other folks that have other tools that they really like, again, I'm kind of a little bit biased towards desktop apps because I think they're faster and get you to, they have a little bit more power, and they're a little bit quicker, and you don't have to upload all of your images to the web, which depending on your connection can kind of be slow. So those are a couple of my favorites. Again, GIMP is probably the one that you'll see me use most on a day-in-out basis. Christine does all of our graphic design, so she has a fancy copy of Photoshop, but I do not. So I use the poor man's version, which is the GIMP, which still gives me a lot of power. It's not as good for sure as the paid product, but it does allow me to do a lot of good edits. And all of these tools also have like color correction, contrast, and all kinds of other fun tools that you can play around with. So. All right. Well, we're down to 2 viewers. I don't know who that is. Probably one of them is Christine, maybe. I don't know. So, oh, there's another viewer back up. Is there any other questions? I don't have any. We'll probably wrap it up. So, right there in the comments. All right. Well, guys, thank you for your time. Again, hopefully this is a helpful few minutes. Really, we open up the doors. You can ask any questions you want, free of charge. And we kind of created a while ago just to help with our mission of we want parishes to be able to communicate correct, to be able to communicate. All right, got a question from Father Coulter. Yeah, we just want to help assist parishes with that. So hopefully this is helpful. Okay, back to Rock Gallery. Question from Father. I thought the photos were supposed to list and adjust automatically. One of the photos I put to a slideshow was an odd size, and it did not adjust at all. How can I use horizontal? Can I use horizontal shots? That is a good question. So, Father, when you put in vertical shot, let's put one in and let's see what happens. I'm a little bit curious myself. So let me share my screen. Here we go. Okay. So I'm back at my gallery here at St. Mary Queen of Angels Catholic Church. I'm going to click on upload. So I'm already here, and I'm going to upload a portrait picture this time. Okay, hit upload. Huh. I do notice one thing already, which is kind of funny. So, okay, so it's uploading. There we go. Okay. So, oh, Windows and computers. So, there is information that is stored in the picture. So when I'm looking at this picture on my Windows computer, it shows a vertical picture with Mary there. When I'm looking at it on the computer, on the website here, it is switched to a landscape. That's because additional information is stored. The picture was stored horizontally, and then there's extra metadata in the picture file itself that tells it that this picture should be turned and put vertically. When you are working with tools like this and the GIMP and Paint, depending on what kind of camera you're using, whether or not it stores them as they're supposed to be or just adds it into metadata, will change how it behaves. So I don't know if that's the same things happening for you, Father, but let's go in and try to edit this picture. So I'm going to click on the, if I hover over the picture, I can click on the little edit icon. It's a little piece of paper with a pencil. And it flips it over and shows it to me here. And let's edit. See, this is the thumbnail. I don't think we can flip them here. So, we're going to have to flip it outside of this tool. Because it allows, there is some editing in here where we can crop and we can resize inside of this tool, but there is no rotation. So back to the drawing board on this one. So let's open up the GIMP and open up this other window. And we'll close out this picture that we were working on. And we'll drag Mary into here. Okay, so I have a little pop-up data, or a little pop-up. And so, and this is exactly what I was talking about. It says, and you don't see the pop-up, so I'll read it to you. According to the EXIF data, this image is rotated. Would you like the GIMP to rotate it into the standard orientation? Yes, rotate. Now it's going to be vertical. If I would have said no, it would have done the other same thing. So generally, you see this happen on more expensive cameras. If you're using your smartphone, generally you don't see this. So, all right. So we got our picture. I'm going to hit File. We're going to export it as Sierra Mary. We'll put it on my Dropbox, or my desktop, so we can see it and get to it a little quicker. Okay. All right, so that's exported out, and then we're going to come back into this, into the website tool where we were working before. And also, if you ever want to delete a picture, if you want to remove it out of a gallery or whatever, you can highlight it and then hit the delete button up here, and it'll shake, saying that it's scared, it's going to be deleted, and then you hit yes, and it'll fade away and go away. All right. I'm going to go ahead and upload and put Mary back into here. Hit upload. And now that information is no longer stored in the EXIF data, which is also known as metadata. It'll be right there. And there it's vertical. Okay, so if I tag this, let's just see what it looks like. Tag it with the sample gallery. Hit apply. And we were under the mission statement page. Oops.
Oh, yeah, we don't need grid.
What's that?
It's on a grid view.
I know, but I think I tagged it, right? Sample gallery. Fly. It is on a grid lab, but it should be the second row.
You limited it. Did you limit it to 2?
I don't know. Let's just try a slideshow. Oh, it is 3. There. All right. Okay, that's a little odd. Sample gallery. I mean, I'm thinking it's in the gallery's the problem here, because I don't think the module, that should all just flow through. So let's go back to the rock gallery. So if I do a filter for sample, okay, it didn't tag it for one reason or another. Tag sample gallery. Okay, now it's tagged. I don't know why I didn't tag before. All right, so now if I look at this, it's probably going to be cropped weird. Yep, it's cropped strange. And that's because it's just cropping in the middle. So how do we use horizontal shots? So one, you can create an image that has like a full width and maybe like on the sides is black. That's one option, probably not the best option there. If we go to edit this picture and edit it, we can choose the crop. Okay, so we see here in the image, it just crops it in the middle and you see it kind of highlighted. So the thing is, it has to have some type of preview. So if I click and drag that up here to the subject, then I should be able to see the better cropped version. I'll hit save here. And now, make sure I got that. Come on. There we go. Now, when I come to here and refresh, I see the cropped, the right preview part of that. If I click on the picture, it should show me the full version that's in vertical view, and it'll do just fine to move back and forth between horizontal. Father says that's exactly. Thanks, Nancy. That's exactly the problem. So, yeah. So, any as far as slideshows are considered, you can pick the size of the slideshows. Like, if you want to, the thing is it has to do one or the other. Either you're cropping and you're going back to like what I just did there, or you create a gallery that's for more. So it's more oriented towards portraits instead of landscapes, and that's done here when I'm creating a new gallery. I put in the name, the tag. I can change the size to say, instead of 900 by 500, I'd put 500 by 900. But switch that in order to make a portrait gallery. But it's going to do one or the other, and you got to remember. So if you're going to do a portrait gallery of tall images, then realize that on landscape pictures, it's going to crop the middle. So because it doesn't know any different, it doesn't know where heads are or anything like that. It crops the middle. So it'll cut off the left and right hand sides if you did a vertical slideshow, which is just fine. Just be aware that that's how that will roll down. So slideshows, yeah, I think in the past Picasa probably put black black on the sides and put centered the picture in the middle, but this component does not. I'll take a look and see if that's ever an option. If there's any changes to Rock Gallery as far as a setting that I'm missing, but as far as I know, that's not an option that I know about. So I will put that as a note. And Father, if I find that, I'll let you know or send that out in another update. But to my knowledge, you have to change the thumbnail or the preview there underneath the edit, and then hit edit here, and then drag that up or down. I will note just one little caveat around that is Rock Gallery specifically. It's a lot better than it used to be, but it's probably a good idea to use Firefox with it. I don't know if that's how they developed it, and that's the main tool that they do a little bit more troubleshooting. But I have noticed in the past, every once in a great while, when I try to save an edit, like I think I did today, it doesn't save it. So I go back in there to make sure, and then I get it fixed. But in Firefox, it's pretty. That's what we. I think what Jackie uses because she does a lot more items with Rock Gallery, and so for different specific items like that, it certainly helps. So, all right. Well, I think that gets us to the end of our time. Hopefully that was helpful. I really. It's kind of a little bit odd talking to a computer for an hour, but hopefully I was able to step you through a few things that you've had questions on, and other people that might see in the past will find it helpful. So thank you so much for all your questions. Go ahead and start writing them up for next month. We plan on continuing to do this as long as somebody watches. So if you have other questions, you can certainly submit them ahead of time to al@soluciosoftware.com or submit it to our helpline service at soluciosoftware.com. And if we have time, we will try to address it during the hour of power. All right, take care and God bless. Thanks, everybody.